Welcome to the Smoke and Rope Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Basore, and today is episode 54. And super excited to have return guest Patrick Frakes from Rair Cannabis. Patrick, thanks for being on the show again today.
Thanks for having me, Ryan. So great to be here.
Really excited to have Patrick on. We got a big announcement to make here in a second. But first, my two co-hosts and Redemption partners is, well, I won't get into that for a second. First, Tom Beller.
What's going on, everyone? Excited to hear what's new at Rare, and also a fellow salmon shirt wearer, Patrick.
Kevin down here in Lansing with me. I know we're all excited to get up to the MICIA event. What's going on, and when are you getting up there?
Oh, not much. I'm actually in Howell right now. I raced home. I got golf league tonight, so doing the podcast from the house since we're not doing it on Wednesday because we are heading up north. I'll be heading up tomorrow afternoon. Plan to be up there early enough. I got all the golf prizes, so I want to get that up there, get that set up so people could take a look at them when they're going around for the cocktail hour tomorrow. And yeah, super excited, man.
How many golfers are there in it this year?
I think there's 30 teams, if I'm not mistaken. So
All right.
that would be
Jeez.
100. That'd be 120 golfers. So
Wow.
yeah, I think it's going to be a good event. Looking forward to it. We're supposed to have, I think, a little bit of rain in the morning, but then it's supposed to be sunny and somewhat mild temperatured in the afternoon. So I think we'll have a good day for golf. So
That's a whole lot of putts.
yeah, lots of putting.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've had Patrick on the show before and got into a little bit of the history. I met Patrick back, it was early, right when we formed the Michigan Cannabis Industry Association. And it was in early 2019. And my dad is the inspector down in Leone Township. And he's guys, this looks like a solid company's going in, and did a little research and called on you, and we went down there, Robin and myself, and it was great meeting you and learning about your background a bit, Patrick, and then all the women leadership and the people you had working with you and your philosophy, and you seem like a genuine guy. And over the years, through the events and grabbing some pizza together and a beer or two, definitely know you're a genuine guy. And watching what Rare's done is cool. You're one of the vertically integrated operators that doesn't act like some of the other ones. You act like kind of the rest of us, in my opinion. That's why you're welcome. So with that, super excited, and also announced that we put out a press release today, and Rare and Redemption are partnering to bring two new strains, Orange Daiquiri and Mimosa, to the Redemption line, and we'll have pre-rolls and pre-packaged eights, and that those hit the shelves in a couple of weeks. So super excited about that. Tom and Kevin have been doing that with me for over a year now, and it's cool to bring more on. And the Redemption brand isn't about this is Redemption Flower. The Redemption brand this is about Redemption doing good criminal justice work and showcasing the follower, Real Leaf and Truu Cannabis and Rare. So super thankful, Patrick. Really excited about it. Ready to smoke some of that here. Hopefully tomorrow you bring it up. So with that, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself again, just so if anyone missed the first episode, and talk about the partnership a little bit.
Yeah, thanks a lot. As a cannabis user for most of my adult life and a few too many of my teenage years, it was always just super important for me, one, to get into this space because it had been such a huge influence on my life, but also, because you guys all know, and we've all been a part of it, the cannabis plant brings people together, thing out there, and that is something that has always been very clear to me. And getting into the industry, it's not about just making money. It's about doing the right thing and making sure, trying to help the world understand what this plant can do for them. And it doesn't mean you have to get super stoned and have all the psychoactive effects, and just getting that information out there and getting more people to understand. And then to meet guys like you all has been incredibly rewarding. And to have a team like Ashley, Molly, and Marley, my three women that are running all of our divisions, they've been really the brainchild of Rare, and their intelligence and their passion and dedication, and I really do think there is a correlation to a woman's perspective in cannabis that is really valuable, And as a guy who was raised by a single mom who busted her butt, it was something that was really appealing. We didn't set outside to have set a goal to have women running all of our divisions, but as I met Ashley and brought her on board, and then was meeting with Molly and Marley at the same time, I was realizing, wow, this is kind of unique, rare, and so I was super stoked about that. And they've been nothing short of amazing partners for us. And, again, what we've seen in Michigan that's gone on through the first time we met Ryan, through the MCAA, MCMA pulling their, silly moves, and realizing what the MICIA is all about and what you guys are all about, it was clear where we belonged, and we wanted to be a part of the Redemption brand from the get-go. And I couldn't be more proud of what you've accomplished with Redemption. And, as a person who has been arrested way too many times, I understand how the way they targeted us with prohibition over the last way too many years, really 50 years and longer it's been going on. It had to stop. Being a part of the end is super exciting, and transitioning into this legal marketplace has been incredibly rewarding and super important for me.
Yeah, congratulations, Patrick, on joining the family. We're super gracious to have you coming on board. When you were talking, Ryan mentioned the Orange Daiquiri and the Mimosa strain. Both of those are sativa leaning, and we don't really have a lot of sativa leaning stuff in our portfolio. So I think that's going to be super awesome to include. Is that something by design? Is that something you guys concentrate on? I know a lot of people don't grow sativas because of the longness of the flowering, and they could just pump out indicas in a shorter period of time. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, it wasn't something completely by design. I would say trying to have a good mix of different terpene profiles, and what the dominant terpene profiles was something we kind of focused on. I can say that Orange Daiquiri specifically, is one of the sativa leaning hybrids that I've seen. You get really mature trichomes at 8 weeks. And so we've seen that it does not mind that 8-week cycle like some sativa strains do, they really want that longer run. But we've been amazed at how mature these buds get in an 8-week flowering cycle. And so that's one of the reasons why we've expanded its footprint, for lack of a better term, in our production facility. And then obviously when we made it exclusive to Redemption, it was because it's a beautiful flower. I think Ryan, at one of the events, I brought him some samples of it. And, it has an amazing terpene profile of gas and fruit, which I geek out on a lot. So it stands as a very unique kind of cultivar. And so wanting to have something that is, going to make a good first impression, obviously was a big factor on it. The Mimosa as well, is more of closer to a 50-50 hybrid, I guess. I'm not probably the most knowledgeable person in the room on that, but it too is really doing great with the maturity of the bud development and its growing cycle. And obviously both are very frosty. We've got some pictures out in the press release, and the Mimosa has been a newer addition to the Rair genetics line. And we did a pheno hunt with about 5 different phenotypes of Mimosa, and found this one was really just head and shoulders above the rest, and was really producing great quality, and super excited to get them into the Redemption portfolio.
Yeah, definitely don't forget to find me when you go to smoke that with Ryan later on this weekend, because I'd love to try it. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for it.
Yeah, it's got an incredible nose on it, and I'm real thankful because it was back in like 2011. I had 100 seeds of plushberry. We were selling TJ Subcool at my dispensary in Lansing, and I got a great pheno of the purple, the pink, and the green one, and I felt like I was ahead of the game in genetics, and or at least doing well and figuring it out. But then they all got taken away, and I got so far behind, and it's been cool to be able to work with all of you guys, and you guys almost jump in line, and just based on our relationship. So it's really cool to get back on the genetics that Rair is bringing, and some of the other people as well. So I'm very thankful. I just thought that was just kind of had a take me back moment there. But I got a question, Patrick, because this is you know, a lot of industry people listen to this, and your business model is pretty fascinating to me. And you guys have not everyone's able to pull it off, but you know, you're vertically integrated. You're pretty much selling just your own products in your store, and then you're wholesaling your flower as well. So, kind of tell me how all that's going, how the market's going, and what are some of the ups and downs with operating that way.
When I told them that we were only going to be carrying our own products in our stores, they said we were nuts, first of all, as a startup. And we may have been nuts. It's definitely was an amazing challenge. You know, and I go back to the talent, you know, it's, you can buy all the wonderful equipment and spend all the money you want, but if you don't have the knowledge and the talent, the people operating these divisions, you're going to be screwed from the get-go. And, you know, I did not always anticipate we would be making as many concentrates as we have, and I've been amazed at way Marley's team and the processing has been able to create some solventless options, and you know, with different sugars and batters and the live rosin and the live resin. They have just been really well received. Everybody says they think our quality is through the roof, and most of the time they say it's some of the smoothest stuff they've ever tasted. You know, with our flower, we knew we were going to always be primarily carrying our own flower, and actually Redemption, we're going to get a couple of strains maybe from Real Leaf and from Truu Cannabis. You know, obviously now that we're partnering with Redemption, we don't want to put Redemption Orange Daiquiri and Mimosa in our stores because we already have it. But we've already decided that Redemption flower from you guys will be the first ones we put that was not produced by us. And the reason why we can stand by it is because of the quality that you guys are committed to and the quality that Ryan's committed to with the Redemption brand. So we know that we can still relay that message to our customers and patients that we know the quality is there. These are our partners. These are our friends that we can count on. And we're going to expand into probably a little bit more of that through edible lines, because you know, we can't make every kind of edible that's coming out there. And as you know, edible category is expanding like crazy. So edibles, concentrates, we'll probably take on some strategic partners as we get farther down the road. Primarily, most of the flower will be coming from us, though, going forward with all of our stores. But it's going really well. To answer the second part of your question, Ryan, right now we're out of wholesale flower. I know that the market is hot right now, but everybody's been very thrilled with their experience with us, and a lot of them, you know, are coming back to us. I'm not even having to reach out to them. They call me saying, I want more, I want more. And, you know, it's a new frustration that we have, that we want to increase our production so we can not run out again. But it's great that people are really getting used to Rair flower and understanding. You know, Ashley, she's got her master's in plant population genetics. She ran a commercial grow in Colorado. She's really passionate about getting into the real science behind this. And I think it goes a long way towards advancing the terpene profiles, advancing the flavor, and advancing the quality of the flower. So we're very lucky to have them.
Doesn't Ashley hold a patent, or didn't she save an endangered species or something?
She did. So when she was getting her master's, there was a thesis they were writing. They were trying to save a strain of cactus from going extinct. And through I guess it was probably like 2013, I'm guessing here, that she was writing this thesis and with her team. And then it was just in 2020 that they removed it from the endangered species list. And so then this thesis got published, and she got a lot of publicity on that, you know, post with all the work that they had done. But yeah, she was really geeked out about it too, and certainly a cool story.
Incredible, man.
Yeah.
I had a question. Last time we spoke, we spoke a little bit to how Rair is cultivated using aeroponic techniques only. With your processing, what type of techniques are you using there that might be possibly different from other companies? Are you guys using solventless extracts, or tell us a little bit about?
So we are definitely different, you know, and it was one of those things. I was involved with them in the process, but you know, Marley had come to me and said early on that she felt like, the edibles category was going to be expanding greatly. And she said that in 2017. Clearly she was right. And with distillate being such a discreet way to consume cannabis, she thought that doing cryogenic ethanol for our primary extraction method was the right way to go. And knowing, some of this is just about bottom line with dollars, but, with the cryogenic ethanol, you don't have to have a C1D1 lab. So it was a little more cost efficient than if we were doing butane or hydrocarbons or, CO2, which I think CO2 was always kind of, not going to be an option for us. But in Marley's dream world, she'd like to see us expanding into a new lab that we're already exploring that option with getting a butane lab, a C1D1 lab. But she has been doing solventless more on a boutique basis. So, we do have the rosin press. We have been doing fresh frozen. She's been doing a lot of experimenting. And again, Marley, she's a chemical engineer. She's got an extensive background on the scientific part of it. And I thought that was a really smart play for us to have somebody with that educational background, and it's kind of come to fruition to see, because I didn't know if she was going to be able to create real quality on the concentrate side without having a butane, a lab, and so because of solventless becoming more prominent, we can't be a high throughput producer of quality concentrates, but boutique wise for our stores, we've been able to really come up with some great options. And the dabbers in Michigan, they're a pretty opinionated group. And they have been really complimentary of us. And I'm I would say a very part-time dabber. But, when I used to smoke shatter, it just would make me cough like crazy and almost give me a headache as much as it did get me high. And now when you talk about a live rosin hit, it's just so smooth. Feels like you could smoke it forever and not cough. And that's been a lot more enjoyable experience for me. And I'm a big believer in solventless and where it's going.
Yeah, it's at me as well, Patrick. There's going to be some great brands hitting, and I think Michigan's definitely going to be a top 3 solventless market in the country, if it isn't already. But I always like to ask this question and get your opinion. It's coming up. We're nearing the end of the summer, and we're gonna once again fall into Croptober. And last year there was there was multiple first time factors, like on October 1st, where there was no more caregivers to the processors and stores bought a ton of stuff, and then there was first time MRA audits, along with the fact that so many grew for the first time with Prop 1 outdoor, and so many people had about a month and a half they didn't buy as much from the stores. So it was a huge drop off. What do you foresee this time on this after this Croptober? Is what's your prediction on how it's going to go? And just love to hear it. And are you planning for it?
Definitely planning for it, and that's one of the reasons why we're happy to be partners with the Redemption brand. Because you got street cred, it helps you get through those lean months. But I do think it was probably a double whammy last year with the caregivers end date of October 1st. Obviously we all know a lot of caregivers, and there's some great growers out there who have been doing the right thing. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. My opinion was they should be allowed in this commercial marketplace. And that day that happened for them, there were so many times that judges kept pushing the date back, so they kept growing as they should. And then all of a sudden it gets cut off, and there was a lot of product in the streets at that point. But at the same time, I definitely think COVID was a contributor as well. We all know what Croptober is and how it plays in the marketplace, and how in-store sales will go down in November and December for sure. But I think with the COVID thing and people being a little hesitant to go into stores and everybody doing curbside, and a lot of people not being comfortable with that kind of buying format, all these things were kind of a perfect storm to see some really light in-store sales through the last quarter last year. I think it'll happen again. I just don't think it'll be as dramatic.
Yeah, Patrick, I agree with you on the caregiver thing. I think that they have a part in this. I was a caregiver. Tom was a caregiver. We came from that area, and I definitely think that they have some ownership in where we've gotten. So I think that they need to be respected and treated fairly. And I don't think these big monopolistic companies coming in and throwing their weight around should be the way that we handle the caregiver situation. I think there needs to be some discussions on how to implement change and what makes the most sense. And I don't think an impulsive decision made, like I said, by big swinging guys, should be the way it goes. But that being said, Patrick, talk to us about your footprint right now as we stand. What are you guys doing? You're cultivating, you're processing, you've got retail. Do you have multiples of those? And what does the future look like for Rair? You had mentioned a little bit about potentially expanding into a C1D1 booth for your processor and whatnot. So talk to us a little bit about that.
We're right now we have about we're growing probably about 600 pounds a month. We have 3 store locations open in Bay City, Muskegon, and Big Rapids. Lowell, Michigan is coming online in September. Probably won't have our grand opening until right around October 1st. And then Kalamazoo at the end of the year will be our 5th location. So at that point, 5 stores. 4 of them on the west side of the state, with our wholesale success, we definitely are. Like I said, we're running out. We're on a limited basis now, and there's people that want to buy from us on a more of a supply chain style type relationship, and we've been very careful about who we would enter into those relationships with. But there's some good operations. Obviously, Gage is one of the big ones that we know that supports our thoughts and supports Ryan, and we have a good working relationship with them. And they're basically, they're saying they'd love to buy more from us on a monthly basis. So, want to try and expand our cultivation footprint. Obviously, expanding our production and processing as well would make us more of a wholesale producer on the processing side. We don't sell wholesale a lot with our processed items, but certainly want to. And really looking forward to also finding a store in the southeastern market. With Detroit, this is very much where else we were very different from the other verticals that we're referring to. We were never going to pay multi-million dollars to get an early license in Ann Arbor or Detroit. As much as we want to be in those locations, we felt it was just a better use of our money to focus on markets where there was an easier access and focus on quality and get our brand out there, get people to understand what we're all about, and then kind of let the chips fall where they may, knowing that there's going to be a lot of movement in Ann Arbor and Detroit over the next 5 years. So we're hoping to get our opportunity to get there one way or the other.
Yeah, it's amazing. You guys are really getting after it. That's really cool. You had mentioned quality, and I'd heard you mention Marley a few times and whatnot. As you expand, how do you anticipate keeping a handle on all of that and making sure that the Rair bud is what people are used to as you guys expand and roll things out here?
That's a great question for sure, because we've already, as we've been growing, we've seen it's harder to find a lot of talent. There's a lot of growers out there, but as you know, not all of them like to work on a consistent basis and show up to work at 8 a.m. and work on weekends. So we have about 50 employees at our cultivation facility now, and as we've gotten bigger, that has become more of a challenge. However, I'm really proud of our leadership team that's working underneath of Ashley and Marley, that we have some great managers that are really focusing on how to maintain that quality as we expand our footprint. And we've talked about it with our expansion facility for cultivation. We're certainly not going to do anything more than bring in a couple of rooms online at a time to make sure that we're being very proportionate, because quality is everything. And Ashley, again, I think one of the best things we did was getting a head grower that came from the commercial market already, an adult use market like Colorado, because that's where there's so many talented growers in this world. But as you guys know, correlating that to commercial scale is completely different language. Running scheduling, making sure you have adequate time and room for drying and curing, trimming and packaging, and so all of these rooms take up space. And as you know, usually the guys with the money, all they want to do is put everything with under canopy and say, you can dry it all in this 10 by 10 closet, and it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. So no, we're going to be very proportionate and very careful as we expand. And we understand fully, and that's, Ashley and Marley scream at us, that, you can't do it too fast. You can't try and reinvent the wheel. You got to be careful and have your SOPs in place so you can make sure you're not losing that quality throughout, because it's easy to have happen.
Yeah, the larger the front office, usually the worse the weed, with these companies. For sure.
I think that's one of the things that I like to brag about us the most. The where we've spent our least amount of money is on executives. We still have less than 10 executives. We have 8 executives and we have 100 employees. So with all of our retail and processing and cultivation, we are at 100 people. But only 8 of us are fat cats that are not productive.
Nice. Hey, I want to ask you a question. Give a shout out to the Michigan Canna contractors. Jake's been down there working for you. Tell us how that's been going, and tell us a little bit about the reception they've got.
Yeah, well, Jake and his crew could not be any better. We've been thrilled with the relationship and their work ethic, their dependability. We just didn't want Michigan State to let all the kids go home for the summer, because they were doing a great job. And of course, college kids, as you know, have a great need to go have fun once June rolls around. So, other than wishing we had more of them coming, we've had no complaints at all. And Jake is a great guy, great partner for you, obviously, and certainly great partner for us. We're thrilled with Michigan Canna Contractors.
That's cool. I saw that video he sent over to me. I don't know if you've seen it yet that he made. It was pretty neat. It was well done. What's next besides Michigan? I know our attitude. You can make it in Michigan. You can make it in any state, any market with the skill set. So you guys you're giving it a go in Michigan first, getting sharpening your teeth, and I know you're from Virginia and they're going, but do you guys have any future plans to be outside of Michigan?
I would say we do, but we are trying to stay focused completely on this Michigan project. I have an ability to keep kind of my ears to the ground in Virginia through my relationships that I have in that state, and I do expect we'll apply in Virginia. They're really kind of going all over the place with how they're going to design their regulatory program right now, and I'm seeing quite a few things that I think would be a mistake. Hopefully they'll wisen up before they get the final rules all set and start taking applications. And then the only other state I would say we're really looking at, which has been a disaster area, is Florida. I think everybody is aware of what a great market it is for consumers and patients, and how many smokers there are down there. But right now they've got basically a monopoly, oligarchy style licensing, with about 5 of the 22 licenses that are down there right now are basically providing almost all of the market share, with Trulieve taking on, I think, over 50% just themselves alone. So now they've gone through a lot of Supreme Court challenges in Florida, been through a lot of back and forth with their application and licensing, and there is some talk now that they're going to start taking applications next year. First one's going to be going for the Black Farmers license that was a part of their settlement under this new constitutional amendment that was put out in 2016. So that's how long it's been going on, 5 years without them accepting an application, when it's in that constitutional amendment that they're supposed to have more applications and licensees. So we're gonna probably apply there as well. One of the reasons why we wanted to be a vertical was so we could be ready for Florida, which is at that point was forced vertical, and I think they're going to stay that way, which is kind of ironic because I think Virginia is talking about making verticals illegal, and obviously each state has their own opinion about that. And, I go back and forth with it. I certainly support more players in the industry. Same thing what we're talking about up here with Michigan, but and the caregivers. But I think that vertical integration is certainly something that is real. And as a business operator, I certainly understand, and I'm a businessman, and controlling that seed to sale model and controlling that profit point. I think it's hugely important if you want to have success in your brand.
No, I totally agree. Totally agree, Patrick. Why not let? Then that's why Michigan's so great, because you can be a vertical, you cannot be a vertical, you can train and learn it. And then I know some retailers now that that are just going to stay retailers. They got really good at it. As you know, retail is not easy, and that's something I definitely don't want to ever have to do myself again. So I love what I'm doing. So yeah, that's why let everybody do it.
It seems like Florida, it's kind of rolled over and took it, the nepotism and the crony capitalism crap that they're trying to pull everywhere. I mean, that just happens, right? Michigan's full of fighters, and, thank God for all of the fighters we have here, and the MICIA, fighting for us to make sure that that kind of stuff doesn't fly here. We won't have that, and it's unfortunate to see it play out in other states, but that's just what happens when you don't have representation. They'll just walk all over.
Absolutely. In Florida, I mean, I could take up the whole hour here if we were to talk about Florida politics, because it's disgusting, but they have been, really just, again, violating a constitutional amendment. That's not usually what your state legislatures are doing, but that's what they're doing in Florida and getting away with it.
Yeah, it smells a little bit like Bill Schuette.
A left field topic, really quick though. Nobody's really talked about the bill that Schumer and the Democrats introduced, for legalization. Just I want everyone's opinion on it, if anyone's been following what's happening. So
You mean
just toss it out there.
You mean legal extortion?
Right. Oh, they're going to tax it because it's not already being taxed. 280E, anyone? That's pretty amazing. It's pretty ballsy to say that we're now going to tax it, not knowing that legal operators in the space are taxed at ridiculous rates. But anyway, I digress. But the meat and potatoes of the thing, what other than the extortion part? Other opinions?
I did like the part about where the states have the right to decide their framework, and let that part of it grow.
That should be a no-brainer.
And that's cool. Let the industry still grow. Let Michigan keep getting better and better, while other places, just kind of lag behind. That's fine with me for a while. But obviously, getting everyone out of jail, getting myself pardoned, expunged, about that, and but like this whole idea with the taxing, obviously that was way too much. And the one thing, I'm a pretty bipartisan guy, and I'm just pro cannabis, and I'm pro people not going to jail. So I like it on this side, but I also like the fact that the Koch brothers are pushing really hard in the Senate to get their Republicans on board, and they will not allow a 25% tax. So like maybe we can come up with a good solution there with that. So I don't think it's going anywhere.
No.
Well, the tax portion, it's kind of twisted. So it's up to 25% in the fifth year, and that's over, I think, $20 or $30 million in revenue. So there is some caveats to that, and it does give a reduction of 50% if you're under, I don't know, $2 or $3 million in revenue, something along those lines. But for me, I guess I agree with you, Ryan. I love the all the caveats that come along with it, the expungement and all that stuff. So we are making progress. But if we're going to sit here and try to compete with the black market, we've struggled to do that a little bit here in Michigan with all the red tape. I think that adding more to it isn't the answer. So maybe just make it legal and learn some stuff and then go from there.
I just love to hear the outdated responses in opposition to it that are just so redundant now. Drugged driving, that's one of the big ones. We're always worried about
Kids.
children's access. Yep. Roll out the kids now. That's the next argument. And, it just gets tiring. You just need to do it. Take care of it.
I took some NyQuil the other night, and man, I stayed up for about 4 hours after taking that NyQuil, and I couldn't have been more screwed up. And I was fucked up. Excuse my language, but I was messed up off some over-the-counter NyQuil. And they want to sit here and talk all this shit about the things that we do and all that hypocritical stuff. It's crazy, man.
Absolutely. NyQuil will mess you up for sure.
I was in the federal prison drug rehab program, and one of my bunkies was in there for a NyQuil addiction, so it can. So
I had heard people say that Schumer was adamant about trying to get something submitted, even though he knew it wasn't going to be close to the final version, which I think is also wasting taxpayers' time and stuff. But I've heard that he knew that this was not going to be anything close to the final version, but he was adamant before they went to break that he wanted to get something submitted.
that's
Got to champion it. Somebody's got to, champion that. The whole
yeah,
thing.
and it's a start. So yeah, it's glad that we're talking about this, and whether Biden would veto something or not, who knows? I really hope not. But I saw a story today where now they're saying all the guys and girls that have been let out from federal prison due to COVID and are at home peaceful, not getting in trouble, they're making them go back into prison. So come on,
Promises kept, promises broken. Promises
Yeah.
made, promises broken. Yeah.
yeah, so it's disappointing. So we'll see, but
Yeah.
cannabis is going to keep chugging. Wanted to wrap up, guys. Today, I have a heart out, but I wanted to let everyone say goodbye and tell me what they're looking forward to most up at the summer annual tomorrow, because it's my favorite event of the year. So first off, Tom.
You know me, and I'm always looking forward to people's speeches before dinner. Just kidding. The tea party's going to be fun. I always enjoy that. I don't golf. Hanging out on the sandbar with people, and I can't wait to try other people's products. That's really my favorite thing, is to see what people have coming down the pipe, and enjoying that and all the camaraderie and staying up late and closing the place down. That's what we're all about.
For sure. Kevin.
Yeah, real quick before I comment about that, I just want to again congratulate you guys on commencing this relationship and moving Redemption brand forward. I think that's going to be an awesome thing for us all. With that being said, my favorite part is the golf outing, for sure. Ryan knows that. The dinner afterwards, the award ceremony, all that stuff is just so cool. So yeah, that's my favorite part. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see you guys.
Thanks. And Patrick, the MICIA event, and then also, thanks of course on the partnership as well.
Well, thank you, Ryan. Like I said, it's been fun being friends with you, and it's going to be even more fun being partners with you as well. And the MICIA event I went to 2 years ago was an unbelievable networking opportunity. And I do a lot of these kind of podcasts and interviews, and really it bugs me in one sense, because I'm the least talented person on my team, and I'm thankful that Ashley, Marley, and Molly, our director of retail operations, along with Kevin, my business partner, our CEO, and David Quinn, my CFO, will all be there. So everybody will get to meet the talent behind me. So really looking forward to having that networking opportunity. And I love the networking. I love mixing it up with the people. That's what it's all about.
Yep. No, I'm looking forward to it, and just the way it's happened organically, and how we were able to go last year. But I always say it's like you get 300 of decision makers hanging out, having fun, happy to be around each other in a real relaxed setting. So I mean, who can beat that? So with that, I'm real thankful. We announced today that the partnership with Rair, also announced today partnership with Luxury Loud out of Detroit, and we're bringing Gershler's Mochi and Runts with Luxury Loud, which is exciting. So two more companies, and I couldn't be happier and prouder, and just enjoying and really thankful that I get to work with all these great people. So with that, I'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot.